Good evening, everybody. It's another episode of the Love Again podcast. It's me, Patrick, here with you. Thank you all for taking time out to be with us and to hang out every Saturday that you do. And thanks for sharing the stream. We appreciate it, and thank you for your feedback. It's been great. Um, it's humbling to know that you all are watching and that we have some conversations that are needful, and hopefully one of the aims and goals of the podcast is to for you to understand that your experiences are not one off. Like, we're all experiencing some of the same things and have experienced them over our lifetime, and that makes us feel a little less alone. And so I hope that in that way it serves you. But we got a brand new episode today. I'm excited. I got my sister. Um, I'm not going to date us. We've known each other been a minute. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say 25. It's probably a strong 30 though.
How could that be? I'm 26.
I know, right? I know, right? I know that's it. But
Thank you.
yeah, we go way back. We go way back, and I'm excited that she's here. She's a businesswoman. She's a minister. She's a great friend. She's a mother. We'll talk about all of that today. But for the first time, my sister's here, Kenyetta Shepard. How are you?
I am wonderful, sir. I cannot complain. I am wonderful.
Yeah.
No complaints at all.
Good,
None.
good, 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 good. I'm glad that you're here with us.
Glad to be
I've been,
here.
yeah, yeah. I've been looking forward to this conversation for a minute. It's like, yeah, me and Kenyatta need to chop it up in public, and let people see how let people in on how we carry on in some of our private conversations. So I think
Ooh.
this is great. I start with everybody by asking them if you were to write your origin story. Um, where does that begin for you, and what does that sound like?
For me, my story started a long time ago. It's very eventful. And when I say that, I'm talking early childhood,
Mhm,
as early as 8 years old.
mhm,
Um, it's gonna sound crazy, but it's just been a lot of traumatic situations, a lot of trauma, a lot of hurdles to cross. Starting with like an early molestation in my early age, mom dying when I was 11, having to
mhm,
deal with some sort of rejection and abandonment by dad marrying into, a family that to me did not accept us, uh, jumping into searching for love in all the wrong places since mom is gone, to becoming the parent,
mhm,
raising those children, and
mhm,
having to be thrust and pushed into womanhood and taking that life and creating what I am standing on now, which has been a life of strength. After you endure all of that, it can do anything, nothing but make you strong. In my case, the
mhm,
trauma, the trauma, the tears, the embarrassment, whatever I had to endure, I took it and used it to my advantage. And so at this point in my life, it's been tools,
mhm,
um, for life,
mhm.
in the corporate place, in ministry, in my own family. Just I turned my trauma into triumph. And I know that sounds real cliche ish, but
Mhm.
in my case, it's so true. Um, and I want to make sure that my story does great things for other people if possible. So I
I
hope
get
that
that.
gave you an.
Yeah, no, that it's a lot, and I totally get how life happens real fast, especially for children. Um, and so you bring up the trauma that happened in your childhood, and um, what I know about you and kind of what we met around is the church, right?
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
a church kid.
yeah.
You were a church kid, and even in the midst of your, trauma, and um, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. I don't know if you knew this or not, but you were working on a manuscript, and our good close friend Kathy enlisted me to help edit your.
No, I did not.
You didn't know. You didn't know I was editing your work. You didn't know I was. I was
No, but
proofing
I
your
am
work.
so honored because you
Mm.
do know that I sent you a portion of it a while back, remember?
Yeah, we've been working on it. Yes, yeah, absolutely. You told me so. I've read some of your story, which makes this, our conversation really interesting for me. Is I want you to go back and kind of think in your head as you're going through the trauma and your mom dying at such an early age. How did that shape the woman you became? And do you think it
Woo!
shaped you for good, or did it kind of alter you in ways that weren't so good?
I would say it's twofold, and let me tell you why I say that. In my case, the absence of a mother leaves a woman empty. She has nothing to use as the example for me. Now,
Right.
don't get it twisted. There are women around you that you can glean from. There
Hmm.
are women around that that will pour into you or whatever the case may be. But there is nothing like your mother.
Hmm.
There are some things that your biological mother will pour into you that will live a life in front of you that shapes you. She is me, I am her. And so when you don't have that, it pushes you to a place a lot of times where you're searching for her. And in my
Hmm.
case, I was searching for that mother. It was something that I did not have growing up. I just didn't have
Hmm.
it. It opens up a lot of avenues internally because you're watching all of these other people with mothers and you go into the anger, jealousy almost. You know, different phases in your life brings on different things. And so
Hmm.
with that, the absence of my mother left me so empty,
Hmm.
but there was a shift when I went from being motherless into being a mother
Hmm.
because what I was missing and empty of, I was trying to make sure I poured it into my children. So
Hmm.
going from motherless to mother, I was walking just blind, trying to master this thing because I didn't know what it even looked like. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? In the book, I talk about the fact that you don't walk out of the hospital with a manual. Nobody
Hmm.
takes you through these classes before you are released from the hospital. There is no discharge requirement that says you have to learn motherhood like this. It does not happen. So when they
Hmm.
bring that child to you and you walk out of that hospital, you go home and learn. If you didn't know how to burp a baby, you're going to learn on your own. And
Hmm.
so to answer that question, it's been trial and error. And so there's been the major mistakes, the guilt. It's just a lot of things that can happen without a mother. And to this day, I'm still pulling
Hmm.
and pulling, trying to see if I can somehow plug that hole that just don't seem to fill.
One of the interesting things, I'm gonna be, incredibly a man right now, is
Mhm,
that I've observed the complicated relationships that daughters have with their mothers.
mhm,
Like, for women who have had their mothers, and their mothers were very, very present in their life.
mhm,
It seems like ultimately that's going to be complicated because a mother was too smothering, right? And it
mhm,
was the emotional attachments were too strong in ways that it just didn't work for them. Then there's the mother who is alive, but they were withholding, right?
mhm,
And so my
mhm,
mother didn't give me enough, and I
mhm,
needed more of that. And then in your case, your mother, who was not present through no fault of her own, she passed away. And yet you have this relationship with her still, but it's very distant, right? There's longing in between where you are and where she is. I'm wondering for
mhm.
you, do you think that in another timeline or something, that if your mother was present, would you still have learned what you learned about life? Would you still know what you know about love? Or by her absence, did it teach you some things that Kenyatta needed to know?
It is so funny that you asked and that you just even said some of the things that you said because um, I had this conversation with my children today. We had a very one of those face it conversations,
Mm-hmm.
even in my parenting skills or just being a parent. Would I become or would I have become this woman if my mother would was here? I would have become a woman, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't know which woman. I
Mm-hmm.
believe that I am who I am because God ordained my life to be like it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Without her, I had to figure it out. I had to try to force motherhood, just like I said, by trial and error for my girls, especially. I
Mm-hmm.
was very protective of my daughters.
Mm-hmm.
Very, and even my son. I'm not just going to say my girls, a little within him, but very protective. Um, did I smother? There's a chapter in my book called Overprotective Custody
Mm-hmm.
because we can sometimes overprotect them from things that they have to experience. Why? Because I don't
Mm-hmm.
want you to touch it. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, I've learned in life, the Lord is writing their story too. And I have no control, literally, of trying to redirect his writing. So if
Mm-hmm.
that's what they have to endure, you know, from my story or from the life that I've exposed to them or whatever the case may be, it is what it is. I made major mistakes as a parent, but I
Mm-hmm.
was doing it trial and error. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I,
Mm-hmm.
I I didn't do everything right, but find me a parent that did. I
Right.
think me personally, I did a darn good job seeing that I work in CPS every day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But in my life, even today, I said, sometimes even adult children will find major mistakes in our parenting. They, especially when they become parents, they feel like, oh, they've mastered it. But
Mm-hmm.
we keep so many secrets from our kids.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Your
Let me
family.
ask you this. Um, One of the questions I ask my guests is, who taught you about love? And where did you get your language and ideas um, about love that you live into now?
I would say my father,
Mm-hmm.
but let me tell you that. Let me say this. In the absence of my mother, my father
Mm-hmm.
did raise me as a single dad. I am a daddy's girl, even at my age. I am still a daddy's girl. My father loved hard. I seen him love my mother hard. He loved us hard. He still to this day loves me hard. He loves my children. Um, I'm the same way. And that can be a disadvantage in life. You know what I'm saying?
How so?
Um, I've experienced because we love so we don't see no fault. We don't sometimes put boundaries in place.
Mm-hmm.
We just want everybody okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We want everybody all right. We just want to make sure you're good at my expense. It is
Mm-hmm.
not good. I know my daddy, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And he exposed me to that first level love, which did spill over into relationships. And so it took now, very transparent. I'm tapping into the 50 reign where
Mm-hmm.
I literally said, the hell with how it used to be. I'm just being honest.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be a shift because that's not working for Kenyatta.
Mm-hmm.
But I cannot stop being who I am. I'm gonna try
What's
to
not what's
peel it
not
off
working
around.
for what's not working for Kenyatta?
Oh, that just love anyway. Yeah, that ain't working, baby.
Uh-huh.
Go
So
on,
in
Patrick. I see you tipping.
no, we just talking. I want us to put. I just want us to put. descriptors on that's not working. What is
Okay.
exactly is not working?
I in love, even with my children, with everybody, I always make everybody the priority
Hmm.
at any expense. And it has cost me.
Hmm.
It has cost me. And it's not always financial, it just costs. When you
Hmm.
make other people the priority and love them from a place that nothing else matters. That doesn't.
Have you
You
ever
know,
had
I
that
know the
for you?
whole Holy Ghost say, love unconditionally, love like Jesus forgives 7 times 7. Well, I'm still working.
Okay. Well, let me ask you: have you ever had the love that you felt like you needed?
I don't think so. I haven't. Outside of my outside of my dad, he gave me what my dad could give me, you know. But even in that search, you're still looking for something. The Lord loves me. Oh, that's unconditional. I know he loves
We're
me.
not
I got
talking about
that.
the Lord. We
Yeah.
know that.
People, I have not. No, I have not. I
Okay.
literally have not.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
have not.
So let me
I haven't.
ask you. So you say your dad taught you about love. That's where you got your ideas about love from. But was that ever a conversation? Was there ever, well, this is what love is. This is what it looks like between two people, or was it just he showed you through
He
demonstration
showed it.
by his
He
care?
showed it.
So where did you get your language about love?
I fished trial and error.
Hmm.
Um, the okay, as it relates to relationships, somewhat of the mentors, maybe marriages around me that were
Hmm.
figures of
Hmm.
value to me.
Hmm. Hmm.
But as far as this is what it looks like, this is how it should feel. Any
Hmm.
of that? No, I missed the manual. I missed that class, so I had to just kind of. I'm just telling you the truth.
No, yeah,
It's been, it's been.
yeah. I
And
think
and
for
now,
most of us,
but I'll say this, it took a long time for me to love me.
right,
You know
right,
what?
right, right, right,
It
right.
took a long time before I made up in my mind it's me and you can't, because I was failing literally at trying to love all these people, and
Hmm.
I wasn't taking care of me.
Hmm. Hmm.
I wasn't loving Kenyatta at 100%, but I'm well on my way. I'm good.
Amen. I'm glad. I'm glad you are. So, so when we go back, right, and I've said this before. It's like the language that I got about love, or like listening to Luther Vandross records, or um, watching the Cosby Show and seeing how they talk to one another. You piece together, you know, from here mentors
What I look like.
saying this, saying that, and then you kind of get an idea of, hopefully, that's healthy too. The idea of what love sounds like, what it looks like, how it manifests. Um, and so we take that, and then we become teenagers, and
Mhm.
we start experimenting in our own relationships. Do you remember your first love?
I do.
What was that like for you? I asked you, was there anything you didn't want to talk about? I did. Was fair. I did ask, though. I don't want you, everybody thinking I'm
Woo!
ambushing you or anything like
You
that.
know what? No,
I
no, 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 no. It wasn't. But you know what? That means I can really backtrack on my answer, because he loved. I experienced love from that relationship. I'm gonna be honest with you. If I had to go back, that probably was the closest thing to a good space of love, a good place of love.
Mhm.
But in my search, I hurt him.
What you do?
I became pregnant with my daughter.
That hurt him? No, I'm trying to get the yeah, I'm trying to get the story right. That's all. So you
No,
are
seriously, I got pregnant in the midst of a relationship. Yeah, it was I was searching, man. It was yeah.
hold on.
So
Wait. You're in a relationship
he was
and you
gone.
become pregnant by the person you're in a relationship with?
Patrick, you know that's not what I said. No, I didn't.
No,
I
I'm
became
asking. No, I'm
I got pregnant by somebody else. Out of sight, out of mind, and something happened and I became pregnant. Come on, brother. We here now. Let's go.
we not yeah, that's what
Please.
I'm saying. So we not gonna we just let's be not gonna say, oh, and I became pregnant. But that's not how that that so let's do this. You were in a relationship with someone, and it sounds like you had uh a
Yeah, I
side
got
piece
pregnant in another relationship and I got pregnant with my daughter.
in the midst
Um
of being in a
in the midst
relationship
in the
with
midst of the
someone.
relationship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
That seems complicated.
it was very complicated. So, you know, we had to process that out and deal with it. Did I end up with the good guy? Absolutely not.
Mhm.
But I learned, I had to learn. But
Look, here's the thing. I think we're old enough now to kind of look over our shoulder, right? And we can kind of see clearly. I mismanaged this relationship,
absolutely,
or
absolutely.
I should have pressed further to let someone
Yeah.
know.
Yes.
Um, and so you're young, right? And sometimes we don't have the well, not all the time. We don't have the tools. We don't have the
Absolutely.
language. We don't have the
Absolutely.
presence to kind of fix things that we break. I'm wondering though, do you ever think about the road that wasn't taken, right? And does that road teach you anything about your life now and about love now?
Does my past road that I did not take teach me anything?
That relationship, like your first love, did it teach
Could I
you in
have done
some
it differently?
ways? Huh?
Yeah, it taught me.
What did it?
Um, it,
What
it,
did
it
it teach?
taught number no. I'm gonna be honest with you. Um, it identified the continuous search that I had. Because
Mm,
even though you were so good to me, you loved me at that age, there was nothing that I desired that I did not get. There was no abuse happening. It was almost perfect. Like there was a plan in place, even with the parents involved. You
mhm.
know what I'm saying? Um, and I just, you're not here, and I need to deal with somebody, and it was right here, and I reached for it. No, you have to. No, you can't do that. And I paid for it because that I reached for brought trauma.
Yeah. Yeah. No, no, no.
It did.
I get that. But I think it's interesting to kind of think through how we handled love then versus how we would handle it now.
Oh,
And and
absolutely, totally
and
different.
right. And the idea of how complicated that space can be when you're young and
Hmm.
um not understanding the damage sometimes that you can do to somebody else by your own actions, right?
Absolutely,
To understand that love is more than what I say and what I do to you or for you. It is what I don't do, right? Love is expressed in what I don't do with somebody else if I am with you, if I'm in this with you. And I think that
Absolutely.
yeah, and I
Absolutely.
think that there are great lessons that if we look over our shoulder, like we learn about ourselves. Let me ask you this, just because this has been in the news, and I'm not horribly acquainted with all the details and all the like, but there's this whole thing with Michael B. Jordan and Lori, right? And I'm very distant from all of that. But it seems from what I've read, she has a history of serial dating, at least. He seems like
Mm-hmm.
somebody who wants to settle down, just a good guy, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, Good guy who wants to settle down, have a family, and that it could be totally different. But let's just go with this narrative. And
Okay.
it seems like sometimes that, and I've had this conversation with friends at barbershops and other places, amongst my male friends. It's like there's no virtue in being a good guy, right? You can be good to a woman, be loyal to her, give her, love her, give her whatever she needs. But sometimes that is not as exciting as a man who will ignore her, who is distant, whom she has to chase, and he seems interesting. And I need my ego kind of stroked by taming him on some level or another. And so there's a whole bunch of good guys sometimes that turn into other men because it's like, well, I learned very early on, and I'm not gonna
I
say
think that goes both ways though, Pat. We do it all
sure.
the time. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Hello, my name is Kenyetta, and I had to talk to me on so many different times to say, don't become her.
Hmm.
And her being her. Don't become her. Because sometimes that her seems to get the good guy. Because
Hmm.
being her seems not to work. But let's keep going because I'm glad I was getting ready to make a very long post about that the other day, but then I decided not to go into this Facebook war because what does
Yeah.
it?
What does that do? So let's just talk it out now. I tell young guys at the barbershop, I was like, you know what? You could be a good guy and be a good guy to a woman. You could be the best guy for her. You could see her potential, want to invest to give her all the things that she wants in order to have whatever she feels like she needs to have in order to be happy. You could be the guy to make that happen for her. But if
Mhm.
she don't want you,
She
you
don't
just the
want
best guy that she doesn't want. Like you, like you could be. It doesn't mean that you're not a good guy. It doesn't mean that perhaps she would even be happier with you. But
you. Hmm.
there's a this thing where your heart and your head get in two different spaces, and your heart's telling you one thing, but your head's telling you another, and then ego gets into all of that, and it gets real complicated. And so a lot of times people don't marry um, someone who offers them that. Seems like in some ways we partner with the person who is as withholding from us, um, and the person who will just offer it will sabotage that relationship because this doesn't seem too good. It seems like it's you know, you too good. You pay me too much attention. You say too many of the right things, and that makes me feel vulnerable. I don't like that, and so I need to be in a relationship with somebody who doesn't give me that I can kind of spar and at least have some emotional distance with. You tell me, is that the truth or is it not the truth?
It happens from both sides. Absolutely, it does happen. I
Hmm.
know women who had some amazing men, like just the perfect gentleman, the perfect man, but that's not
Hmm.
what they wanted for some reason. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Vice versa. I know some men that had some good women,
Hmm.
but he chose Tatalina. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? That's obviously what he wanted. You say out of your mouth one thing. And I had this experience myself. This is
Mhm.
my name. I'm Kenyetta. I tell my own truth. Can't nobody tell her like me.
Mhm.
I had someone that verbally said to me, "This is what I desire. This is what I want. Oh my God, blah, 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 blah. You are this, you are that, you're every da 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 da." So, sir, if that be the case, what's the problem? Because
Mhm.
obviously, either one or two things, you just saying something and you don't mean it, or you
Mhm.
don't want it. Or it could be this is what you want, you just don't want it from me. So here we are
Mhm.
sometimes as women giving it, and it ain't got nothing to do with shake a booty, hunch, hunch, give it to me like that. It's just
Mhm.
overall, this is what I desire. And we as women try to give that, but he don't want it. He really don't. Or maybe, like I said, he may not want it from you. So I've invested all this time. And then when I look up, you with Meg.
Mhm. Does that make you feel cheated?
Absolutely. Because I think with the mistake that we make, we invest so much in the possibility of,
Well, men and
you know,
women do.
men and women. We
We
invest
do.
in what we think is happening or could
Mhm.
happen. And sometimes I think the worst mistake is that we verbalize these things and we portray a picture of what this relationship is doing.
Mhm.
And on somebody's part, that's not really what's happening here. And then the other person ends up with the short end of the stick.
Yeah, I remember. I remember being married 20 something years ago. And I don't remember everything because I'm getting older now, and it's a blessing that you get older and you can forget some things. But um, I remember thinking and feeling in that is that you want to be married, and we got married, but you really want somebody else, right? And that could be me. And I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that was all her. But what I kind of discerned was that, yeah, you wanted the wedding, you wanted the the marriage, you just want me to be somebody else, but because clearly you don't like the person that I am, and perhaps that we get so enamored with love and the life that we want that we don't really see people for who they are, or we see them and be like, oh, I'll change them, I'll love them well enough, I'll sex them well enough, I'll care for them well enough in order to change their behavior, only ultimately not to be disappointed in them because they probably were who they always were. I'm
Absolutely.
disappointed in myself because I led myself to believe
Yep.
that I had the power to change or that they had the capacity to change.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we talk about our early loves, we can talk about all of the mistakes. And let me ask you this: um, how did you learn to deal with heartbreak over a relationship that didn't work out the way you wanted it to? Like how did you learn how to heal and recover?
The most traumatic experience that I had to step back and evaluate and look at why did it happen like it did.
Hmm.
What did I do? I took him completely out of the situation. Um, why was your expectation so high? Why did you think that this was going to happen? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? Because I played a major role. Your heartbreak is not as damaging when your expectation is not as high to me. We set some expectations for people that they just are not capable of
Hmm.
handling. And when they don't live up to those things, then we're empty, we're broken, you know. I then had to backtrack and say, you were expecting this from a person who was not supposed to give it to you, number one. Because sometimes we go in thinking that this person is supposed to be this to me.
Hmm.
Not necessarily, Sweet Pea.
Hmm.
It's not, it's just not, no, that's not the way it's supposed to be. Because a lot of times we're expecting things from people that we ourselves should already have within. I can't fix what's broken in you by doing this for you. Because
Right.
I'm always gonna be fixing. So for me, I had to work on Kenyatta
Mm-hmm.
a whole lot, like a lot. I had to work on me, and I'm serious. And we don't like to tell the truth, but I did. Like, you know
Mm-hmm.
what? And so now it's kind of difficult. It's like I'll never be her again because I don't even want to experience that type of pain. So I am guarded, but I'm guarded in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
Guarded in a good
I think one of the things that hinders our relationship, and we don't see this about love early on, is that we never have room in our love to allow people to fail us, right? That we expect them to be perfect, to say all of the right things, to do all of the right things, to be intuitive about my needs that I don't even express. If it's love, you're supposed to know, and all of that kind of thing. And realistically, that is, you're setting yourself up for failure if within your love you don't have room enough in it for them to fail you. And I'm not talking about any extreme way. I'm not even talking about infidelity. I'm talking about when perhaps they don't emotionally show up for you, or you don't always feel protected and covered the way you feel like you should be, or you don't always feel nurtured, or somebody doesn't always say the right thing to you because they don't know what is the right thing to say to you.
So what happens when these things are communicated?
Hmm.
What happens when you continue to give the space for that person to fail over and over again?
Hmm.
Uh, that becomes damaging to you because how many times am I going to just let you keep accidentally making this mistake that's causing me pain? After so many punches, there's going to be a bruise. There can be damage. You understand what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And I'm not necessarily talking physical punches, but I'm just saying we sometimes do allow the space for
Hmm.
failure, but it
Hmm.
becomes damaging and it does not become healthy when we continue. Because if change, I hear what you're saying, but change behavior, if it doesn't happen, what good is the conversation?
and
I hear
I
what you're
No, no, no. I agree with you. Um, what I am saying is, because I think that love changes us, right? And when we're in it, I should be in it to know how to love you. So the mistakes I made in year one, hopefully, it's not year 10, and I'm making the same mistakes, right? That hopefully that I am learning, but it is a continual. I think it's a continual stumble, because who you were, if I'm loving you the first year in all the ways that I know how to love you, by year three, you could be a whole different person who has different needs, because of course we change, we all grow, our needs become different. What I needed you to say to me 5 years ago, I don't need you to say that. I need you to say something else. And so what I am saying is that there has to be space in the relationship, that you allow me failure in order to teach me who you are right now, and what is the
but
best way to
in
love
the
you, and what do you
relationship,
need.
so let me ask you this. In the relationship, let's say we go from 5 to 3, should we be learning that you're changing, and in this change we have to make adjustments?
I think theoretically the best lovers are the best teachers, right? That if we're going to involve ourselves in love, I have to commit to be the best teacher, because I don't come with a manual, right? And let's say I did. By the year three, the manual is outdated. Like it's just like, so we need a whole new manual for this, right? And so
And
I what
also, go ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead.
But at the same time, even with that, um, teaching, I'm going to teach, and you should be learning. And after that's taught, we build from what you know, right?
Mhm.
So if I keep teaching you this, how long am I going to keep teaching the same thing? If I'm teaching you how to love me, and and I tell you that I don't like, I really, baby, I promise, babe, I just don't like pepper on my eggs. I don't.
Mhm.
And when you do it like that, it just does something to me because it does this A B C D F G. Can you
Mhm.
please not do that?
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
Tuesday you do it again,
Yeah.
honey.
Right.
Please, I've
Right.
expressed this to you, and you just keep. Am I gonna keep talking about it? And then here comes John. John brought them eggs. But I was so excited.
Mhm. Mhm. So so okay. So let's make it a little more complicated than pepper on eggs, right? Because that's a little. That means he's slow, and there's some other functions if he can't get pepper
You
on
know
eggs
what
right,
I
right?
mean? I
Those are
kind of
no,
just
no, no. Right. I do. But so let's complicate it a little more to say that you could have been horribly insecure when before the marriage, and through love, through promotions on your job, through educational pursuits, you become more in yourself and more secure, and the the reinforcement and affirmation that you needed at one point, you don't necessarily need that anymore, right? And so you have changed because your emotional needs have changed.
okay.
I think that is a constant, right? Because then you could get all of that, get into another corporate situation that makes you feel insecure again, but you're insecure for different reasons now, right? And so I think that it's not just that to be a lover is to be a teacher. I'm going to teach you how to love me. It is also on the other end of that, I need to be teachable, right? I need to be able
It goes
to,
both ways.
yeah, to learn. But within that, there has to be some bandwidth for the other person to say that sometimes you're not going to get it right, and I understand, and we're going to talk about that, and I'm gonna love you anyway. It seems to me, and I've been in relationships like this, and you know, my former marriage is like, something happened on Monday, we argue about it, I apologize for it, okay, we're moving on. 2 weeks from now, I realize that we're still having the same conversation that we had 2 weeks ago, which means you haven't let this go. I've moved, I'm gone. Like, I thought we had this conversation, but apparently there's more what you can say. And the relationship can be hijacked for years when somebody won't let go of something, won't move past something. And I'm not talking about in the most extreme ways. I'm talking about day-to-day living with one another, and you came home and you needed a hug and I wasn't there for you, and you feel like I don't love you.
Mhm.
Like, I just wasn't, that was just a moment, and you have to teach me now, and you have to give me some bandwidth to sometimes not be everything that you need in every moment of your life, right? That's fair, right? At least.
That's an expectation that we should not put. I mean, I shouldn't expect that from you. You know, I'm
Mhm,
not expecting you to be everything. I know
mhm.
you didn't, but I'm just saying sometimes, again, I say we put an expectation on people that are not capable of meeting that expectation. And the only person that's disappointed is us. And then,
Well,
you
I
know,
well, I think when you say somebody who's not capable, sometimes they are capable. The issue is you have not equipped me to be capable enough to love you because you have not communicated to me exactly what you need. And this is why I say to be a lover is to be a teacher, right?
well, see, I can't relate. You know why? Because I'm her. I'm going to say it. But the problem that I keep running into is I'm tired of saying it. I'm a teacher, I'm an educator. I just can't go in a house and be educated 24/7, 7. Or maybe I'm just in this season, in this place of my life that I'm praying that he comes along and just be like, it's already, that work is done. Just let's go. It's a
Mhm.
dream. I just believe it that it could. I
I
didn't say
want
it
you to
was.
have everything that you want. I want you to have the best love that you want. So if that's what you want, I want you to have it. Like
You know
you
what I
getting
mean? I'm
ready
saying I
for
know
it.
you're not gonna be Jesus walking in the flesh, but at the same time,
Mhm,
take away all the extra. Like, I'm well into my fifth. I'm not well into, just tapped on the door. But
mhm,
I mean, at my age, Pat, some things I just don't. I just need you to be. Come on, let me say this, babe. This is this.
mhm,
Let's work on
mhm,
this. Can we fix this? If we cannot
mhm,
fix this, be honest enough to say we can. I don't know how. We can
mhm.
work from that view. Don't
Yeah.
just throw what I say to the curve and just don't have no. You ain't even
Mhm,
tried. You just it's gonna get better. It's gonna get better. Okay, when?
mhm,
I, I
mhm.
I cannot get my time back. I had to learn the hard way. Time is something you can never,
No.
ever get back. I can't get
Mhm.
4 o'clock today back. It'll
No.
never come back. 4 o'clock tomorrow, but not this 4 o'clock. And I don't have that time to give away anymore. I don't. I wasted a lot of time, Pat. A lot of time.
Well, I'm going to push back at you a little bit about wasting time, and I understand what we mean. I've said it too when I've looked at relationships, like it's just a waste of time. And then I think there's a way for us to kind of reframe that for ourselves, right? Um, I was at a memorial service for a friend of mine who passed away suddenly, and I
Mhm.
said to them, we could spend the rest of our lives pouting about him not being
Wow.
here
Yeah. Yeah.
and being hurt by the loss
Mhm.
that we feel every single day, and we could never get over that. Or we can spend the rest of our
Mhm.
lives being filled with love and joy for the fact that we had him at all,
Mhm.
and that perhaps what we had was more than what other people have ever had in a friend and a father, whatever. And so I think I am learning to look over my shoulder, and those things that I said wasted my time. I remember that, well, maybe during that time I wasn't alone, and perhaps I felt loved for a minute, and I had someone to care for a minute, and I maybe wanted that forever. But who gets forever? I had it for as long as I had it, and perhaps there was somebody who didn't have as much as I had. So then, in that case, maybe it's not a waste of time. These were moments that I had that added to me, that made me the person that I am now. And how
Mhm.
can we
The
despise?
lesson. Yeah. Yeah. Because you're always gonna walk. What did you walk away with?
Hmm. Hmm.
In these 4 years, what did you walk away from? In these 6 years, what did you walk? I'm not saying every day we waste the whole 6 years, but yeah,
But we walk away with some things,
we walk away
right?
with something, you
Yeah, and
know.
sometimes those are good things to have that we wouldn't have had any other kind of way, right? Um, if you with somebody and they got a private jet and they fly you to Tahiti or whatever, and then the relationship ends, well, you could cry about I don't get to go to Tahiti no more, or you could say that, I got to go to Tahiti. Like I know what that. I walked away with
Yeah, he
something.
picked me up when I was in Tahiti.
I hear that a lot from people. I don't want to waste my time, and I wasted my time, and I'm like, well, I mean, that just depends on how you experience life. I think we all,
I mean,
whatever we love,
that's the good with the bad. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's life.
I get it. I get it. Let me ask you this. So you had your first child at how old were you?
I was 18.
You was 18. Um, I'm interested in what that experience was like. Um, what did you feel? How did you experience the people around you? Because you're a church girl, and we were singing in the choir and doing all those things, and then something like that happened, and I know that how unkind the church can be and church people can be. And what was that? What was that for you?
That looked like you were dating him here, and now you're pregnant. So now that you're pregnant with this child, you're the worst of the worst. You're not the sweet girl that did all the singing and sent the church up, and oh, we loved you, we loved you. Now you're the pregnant, promiscuous bad girl. But now that you're her, what we need to do is, because your dad is one of our head deacons, we need to take you Sunday and stand you before all of these great leaders. And you need to open up your mouth and say to these great leaders that I have sinned and I fornicated and I am pregnant and with child. Please forgive me for what I've done. And that's what I had to do in front of people that I knew were having extramarital affairs, in front of people that I knew as a kid what type of life they were living. So it was very, 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 what's the word I'm looking for? Contradictory in their behavior. It
Mhm,
was horrible.
mhm.
That was my first experience like that. So from that moment, I was in shame because I had the baby. I was ashamed. There's no, hey, it's not like it is today. Let's give a baby shower. You got the mom and dad king chairs and balloon arches and color schemes with the t-shirts. No, we don't do that. No, no, no. We wasn't doing that back then.
Mhm.
But it was very shameful. It was painful. Um, yeah, it was very painful. And so I had to live through that season of my life and just deal with it. And I became mother. And at that point, it was like, oh, it's me and her now. So it is what it is. I could care less. Then everybody want to kiss the baby and be her baby godmama and buy clothes. And
So
but
let me
for
say
me,
this. Yeah. So let me say this. Um, I am so sorry you had to go through that. That is absolutely horrible. And I am very honest in my critique of how the church has treated women in your situation. My earliest um, story about how women were treated came from my mother, which is a lot like your story. She had a friend um, when they were teenagers, and we're talking like in the '60s now, late '60s, mid '60s, late '60s, something like that, maybe early '70s. And they were all teenagers together in the choir singing, being saved. And she came up pregnant. And my mother said they did the same thing to her. And it was also that they couldn't talk to her anymore. And so my mother said her and her friends would have to like grab food out of the pantry and go meet her on a corner somewhere to make sure like she got food and she had some kind of support. And it's embarrassing to be a part of a church tradition that has that kind of legacy in treating women like that to the disproportionate amount of men in the church who get the women pregnant. Um,
and it's so funny that you said that. Let me jump in that space right there.
mhm,
Um, I told you I'm a very transparent person, even all the way up until my son. Pregnant with my son by a musician,
mhm,
uh, singing with a well-known choir.
mhm,
I was told I couldn't sing anymore, but they never removed him off the organ. I didn't understand what the difference was.
mhm,
Again, here we are, same situation.
mhm,
I was sat down. He continued to play.
mhm.
Explain it to me.
Well, the explanation is men can be horrible to women, and men who are in church and who have power can be horrible to women, and that's the bottom line. I'm ashamed about how we treat women and how we have treated women, because there has been no equity when it came to justice, right? Like you said, he doesn't have to carry the baby. He doesn't get any scarlet letter. Oh, in some way it is an old boys club where, like, well, if a man does this, that, or the other, oh well, boys will be boys. Well, that's what he's supposed to do. But when it comes to her, she bet not. And this is old, right? Because even in scripture, we look with the woman who was caught in the act of adultery. They
Mhm.
didn't drag him out, right?
Didn't even
They didn't. They were getting ready to kill her just to make a
Mhm.
point, right?
That's it.
They would just for no other reason than that they could.
Mhm.
And
And he might
everybody
have
was
been
going to
right.
stand around and just watch it happen because,
Absolutely.
oh, this is what happened. And that same kind of mentality, it's very much still in the church. But I know, like in our day, we were coming to you. I've seen it happen over and over and over again, and that's downright shameful. It
It is.
absolutely is.
And that's why I wanted, it's so funny you said that, because that's why one of my strongest ministries is dealing with her.
Mhm,
Her being, I'm looking at me. When it happens, even in this hour, I gravitate to those type of women. I gravitate to those type of teenagers. I gravitate to them, especially in the church. In the
mhm,
school system, of course, I still gravitate to them, but in the church, it's like a magnet, because I want to make sure that what was put on me was not put on them, or is not put on them. And it happens still to this day. We're still handling that particular situation like we do, and it just does something to me. Like, it's a heart, it's a very sensitive place in my heart when it comes to that. And so I
yeah.
I am that strength, I am that support to her throughout the
Mhm.
process.
Yeah, no, 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 no. And um again, I'm sorry you had to experience that. And yet through that experience, like you said, you found a way to help other people, um because you can relate to those type of experiences, right? And
Yeah.
so in those ways in which we look at our lives, we see that perhaps maybe these things had to be it orchestrated because it changes us into who we are and perhaps
Absolutely.
gives us ministry out of it, that we save other people from falling down in a ditch
Absolutely.
the way we fell, or at least we teach them how to get out of the ditch even if they gotta fall into it, right?
Absolutely.
So like
Absolutely.
there's a lot of lessons to be learned. A question, I'm gonna let you go in a few, but I'm not finished talking to you yet.
That's
Um, I'm interested in, for all of your experience and for what you've done, and you're involved in business, you're involved in ministry, your work vocation, and your kids done a great job raising kids. They're adults now. Um, what do you want out of life now?
to see Kenyatta happy. I want to be able to experience everything that I put on hold. What do I mean by that? When you become a parent at such an early age, I personally made the mistake of smothering womanhood for motherhood. I did not cultivate her like I really should have, because I was so busy making sure that I did the best I could to not fail in motherhood. So here
Hmm.
I am, 50 now, trying to grab a hold of Kenyatta and make sure she's happy and doing what
Hmm.
she wants to do. And that's tapping into business, tapping into fun, tapping
Hmm.
into those things that I said no to back then, that are now checking off my list. Like, you deserve this. Let's do this. Is this
Hmm.
what you want to do? Do it. If that's not what you want to do, say no. I'm in that place now. The things that I always didn't do, I'm doing it.
Hmm.
And I'm
Hmm.
doing it with a smile on my face, with no reservations, with no guilt, with no explanation to be explained to anybody. And I don't know, sometimes we can get in that place, and I don't ever want people to think that I've become hard. It's not that, it's just that I am the priority now. And
Mhm.
if you don't fit in that number one spot, take that up with God, because I can't help you. And it's
Mhm.
not, I am selfish right now
Mhm.
in a good way, though.
Mhm.
Honestly, in a good way, I'm very selfish right now because I
Mhm.
have been everything to everybody else and nothing to myself.
Mhm. Mhm. Did you enjoy being a mother?
I love being a mother.
Mhm.
Even to this day, I've jumped into being a grandmother actually
Mhm.
now,
Congrats. Yeah, I
which is
saw that.
2 times greater. As a matter of fact, I think did they just pull up? They're headed here now.
Mhm.
She
Mhm.
comes here like she lives here, the girl, because
Mhm.
of course my other grandbaby is in Atlanta.
Mhm.
Um, I am the mother of three, since we
Mhm.
didn't cover that. My
Mhm.
motherhood, I am the mother of three, two
Mhm.
girls and a son. All
Mhm.
of them are doing amazing. We
Mhm.
lived through it, every hurdle, every hill, we climbed it, but we did it together. Me
Mhm.
and my three piece, that's what I call them. But now it's three pieces, a biscuit and a pepper. But we are
Mhm.
full meal. We good. We just waiting on the Lord to give us that little Coke, large Coke, cold Coke.
I get it.
And that meal will be complete.
Got you. That's that's wonderful. Okay, so I'm gonna I'm gonna let you go. But I do this thing with all of our guests at the end of our conversation.
Mhm.
Um, I ask them 5 questions, and they just answer it right off the top of their head. So you're good. You can handle this. I know you can handle this. You're good. Don't worry about it. You ready?
Let's go.
Okay. First question. Do you believe in love at first sight?
Do I believe in love at first sight?
Mhm.
No. And that's only
Okay.
because I've never experienced it. I can't say what it don't happen. So
Mhm. Mhm.
I
Mhm. Okay. All right. Next question. Um, what has love taught you?
nothing.
Okay.
What? Pat,
That's
wait.
fine. That's totally fine. No, no, no. I get it. I'm not mad at you. That's your final answer. Love it.
Maybe that thing that threw me for a loop. No, the experience that I've had in love as of right now is making me pay very close attention to what I don't want. Um, to pay attention to what I know I deserve.
Mhm.
Uh, and so I'll be very careful in approaching that next presentation of love.
Okay. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to
Absolutely.
answer my question. My question was, what has love taught you? Right. So stay here with me, with me. That was a great answer to some other question. We might get to that, but answer this question.
Um, what has love taught me?
Hmm.
Oh, that is very strange that I've gotten tongue tied on that question. What has love taught me? Um, let's make number 3 5. Come on, let's go.
Okay, we'll come. That means we'll come back to it. Okay.
Yeah, let's 3 5.
What do you believe about love now that you didn't believe then?
Then meaning before.
Before, yeah.
What do I believe about love that I didn't? What do I believe about love now that I
Hmm.
didn't believe? I deserve love,
Hmm.
because there was a
Hmm.
season in my life for a long time I didn't feel like I deserved it, or I didn't, I didn't have it, so I didn't. It just seemed like I just didn't deserve it. Now I know for a fact that I am deserving of real, true love.
Gotcha. Next question. What makes a good lover?
I need a red cup.
Should have had you one. You should have had you one. You should have came with your. Yep. 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 Hmm.
What makes a good lover? I haven't found them. Hell, I don't know. No. What makes a good lover? I mean, okay, call me after.
Who?
Look at that face.
What? Why is this? Why is this a difficult? I don't. I
Get
want
my
to unpack
lines.
why this is a difficult question.
Woo!
You
Patrick,
got on now to everybody watching. We got
who's
on
watching?
here. Everybody is
People see
watching.
me?
I say yes. They see you. Yes, this is live. So, um,
Like they've been listening?
yeah. So I asked her. Is there anything you don't want to talk about? No, I'm good. I'm transparent.
No,
I,
okay,
I,
okay,
I
okay.
tell
So
I tell my truth. We go.
ask my question again. Come on, seriously. Okay, I'm gonna stop. You said what makes a good lover,
What makes
or
a good
what has
lover?
led to no?
No, let's go to that question. What is a good lover to
What is
you?
a good to me?
Mhm.
You should have gave me these pre
Well,
show.
no, that takes away the whole idea of doing these questions. I don't understand somebody who done had 3 kids and you can't tell me what a good lover is. Like I just no, I'm just
Wait.
no,
Patrick, see?
I'm just
No,
saying
Patrick. Now see,
we having a
me personally,
conversation.
I'm gonna don't laugh. No, that's I could
I'm
answer.
just I just
I just
okay. You want the next question and come back to that one too?
we're gonna make four
I
three.
know we're gonna make we're gonna keep doing this. Just keep. I only got one more question. Like so, then we have to go back and start at the questions that you did
We
not
have to
answer.
make 5 4. Okay,
And
come on,
I
Patrick.
and I want
Come
us to
on.
know I have never had these kind of complications until my sister came born, and now all of a sudden we can't.
Because I could answer the question according to what I want to say,
And we'll say what you
but
want to say. Nobody's stopping you from saying what you want to
I know.
say. I asked you the
No, so,
question.
no, seriously. What's a good lover to me? Seriously, my love language is affectionate. He's got to be affectionate. Got to be affectionate.
Why is that so
He's got to be.
simple? I mean,
I
so
wasn't finished.
difficult. Why is that so
I was
difficult?
So now that we've asked the question, are you going to let me answer the question, or are you going
Please.
to stop me?
No. Please elaborate. I really want to hear this. Please.
No, seriously, a great lover to me is a communicator.
Mhm.
He's got to be affectionate. I'm an affectionate person.
Mhm.
I'm touchy feely. You gotta
Mhm.
show me some affection. You got to be a communicator. I pray that you're loyal, which is something that we always struggle with. Honesty is important.
Mhm.
If we communicate, we
Mhm.
can handle a lot. Communication is very important to me. We
Okay.
can work on some other stuff, but a good lover is a communicator. You know,
And affectionate.
affectionate. Yeah.
That's a great answer.
Go ahead. Step in.
Next question.
Stand ground. Got to be able to
No.
handle. You know.
Next question. What brings you joy?
Oh, you know what? This sounds funny, but what brings me joy is number one, my family, making sure my
Mhm.
family is happy. I love my family. I love my children. My children bring me
Mhm.
great joy.
Mhm.
Ministry brings me joy. Um, serving in certain areas bring me so much joy. I just love it. I love being people. I'm happiest when I'm with my kids and my family.
Mhm.
Um, Here lately, tapping into this new realm of entrepreneurship brings me joy because it's bringing out another side of creativity. So, it's like, yeah,
Okay,
my
that's good.
family number one. That brings me
Wonderful.
joy. My family.
All right. Last question. We're going back to
Until he comes.
the question that you didn't answer, and then we'll be finished for today. What do you believe about love now that you did not believe then?
I thought I had another question. I thought we answered that question.
Okay. Well, you
I
moved
thought
some
we were
couple
supposed
questions.
to answer what love taught me.
What has love taught you? Let's answer that. Yes, let's go with that one. What has love taught you? Because the answer to
Oh,
the what you believe now is you said nothing. So so what has love taught you?
this has become so difficult. Love has taught me from past experience. I number one, I did say I deserve to be loved,
Mhm.
to be respected. And I've learned in love that I do deserve things. So I did answer this question. You're right. I'm sorry. Let's go back to the one
Mhm.
you want me to answer. UPS is coming here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
UPS.
No, it's fine. Um, what
Come
do you
on, Kat.
believe?
This
What
threw
do
me
you
for loop.
believe
Wait,
about?
these people like
Okay, what do you believe about love now that you didn't then?
love did not have to hurt as much as it did.
That
It
is
didn't have to.
powerful.
Love did not have to hurt as much as it did. Um, and me personally, I literally could have put a little bit more weight on it. I Let me tell you what I mean by that. It hurt, but when you waddle in it and revisit and keep opening wounds, it causes more pain.
Mhm.
So yeah, it didn't have to hurt as bad as it did. Didn't have
That
to.
that's pretty powerful. Thank you. That was excellent. I appreciate. I do.
Answer
I
finally.
appreciate you. No, I appreciate your time. Thank you to everybody who's been online with us, Samantha, Nicole, everybody else. Thank you all for hanging out. Before you leave, Kenyatta, I want you to talk a little bit about your businesses and what you're doing because you got two or three things going on, and how they can reach out to you and connect with you on social media.
Number one right now we're dealing with the dope apparel, queen apparel. That is all lines of t-shirts, hoodies, hats, all of the above. Any kind of apparel, I do cover that. You can reach out to me on Facebook. Kenyetta Shepard is free on Facebook. You can reach me on Instagram, same name, Kenyetta Shepard. I'm not on Snapchat or any of things like that, but Instagram.
Mhm.
Also, Sitting Dainty. Sitting Dainty is for my church girls.
Mhm.
Those are lap scarves, all
Mhm.
kind of lap scarves. We go from just plain lap scarves to our designer high top lap scarves. And you're laughing because we're not going to have this conversation on here. Ladies, it's a lap scarf. It's for my ladies. My church girls know what that is. Patrick, I'm talking. We're not going to talk about lap scarves, okay? Uh, I am a mentor. I did have a mentoring program inside of the Cook County Juvenile Detention Center, which I am getting ready to go back into. Due to COVID, I was not able to, and that is the queen that I am. It's a girls mentoring program. So hopefully, I'm getting ready to go back into the juvenile system. Our babies need us. Those girls need us. And then KFS Ministries is just a women's ministry for empowerment, for strength, for encouragement. And you can reach me at my name for all of the above. All of the above. But the number one baby that I carry here is my single moms ministry. Single moms, hey, single moms, is for all single moms all over the world. I want to be. support to you, to have those conversations that we tend to run from, to be to a lot of women what I did not have. I did not have a support system. So therefore, I make sure that we have a safe place where we can come as women and talk about the things and get encouragement, support, advice from women to help raise these children because you cannot do it by yourself. Impossible. You just can't
Mm.
do it alone. All of the above. That's me. That's who I am. All of that has been birthed in my experience, and I try to do the best I can at all of it.
You're doing an excellent job with all
Coming
of it.
from you. Thank you.
Juggling all of that, you're doing an excellent job. And I'm very proud of you. I love you very much. Thank you
I
for
love you right back.
yeah, thank you for coming to hang out with us. And you have to come back again.
Yeah. Call me after this show is over.
Yeah, no, right. Thank you to
Please.
everybody. Thank you to everybody who hung out with us. We'll be back for another episode next week. To our guest, Kenyetta Shepard, thank you so much. And you all have a blessed weekend. Be safe and see you next week. All right. Bye bye.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye bye.
Yeah. Bye bye.